Part 1. Hello, and thank you for joining me today, and a special thank you to Nikki and Will and the team of Practically Perfect PA for organising today's summit and for giving me this opportunity to present to you on how to switch your career as an EA or PA to another sector or industry. My name is Veronica Richards, and I'm an executive assistant and business founder with over 20 years personal experience of successfully transitioning between the public and private sector. Those include financial services, property, retail, consultancy, public local authority, a membership organisation, the health service, and the university, banking, insurance, and all variations of legal. So today I will share my strategy with you, provide helpful advice and practical tips throughout this presentation. So what will I be covering? Firstly, why switch and what has stopped you doing it sooner. Secondly, we'll look at what you bring to the table and package that into your own special toolkit. And thirdly, I will expand on my 3-step action plan to help kickstart your journey. Why do you want to switch sector? Firstly, I can safely assume you are here because you're an assistant who loves what you do. It is your chosen career, but have thought about doing the same job but elsewhere. Maybe because you want to feel engaged and want to feel excited about your work, doing something fulfilling enough to make you want to jump out of bed every morning. You may want the freedom to make choices on what you do and how you do it. Maybe you're working in a culture which is inflexible or not future focused, and sadly maybe being overly micromanaged. You may want to simply be happy and express pride in the work that you do and possibly the company or organisation you work for. Maybe a role more aligned with your values, where you're making a difference in people's lives or where the role offers you more meaning. Money is another reason. Think over the past 10 years, salaries have stagnated and even fallen to pre-2008 levels, so it's natural to want to move to an organisation or a company who you know will pay a higher salary for doing, in essence, exactly the same job. We all have our reasons for wanting to transition into another sector, negative and positive, but is clearly very personal, as is the reasons why you have not switched sector or industry sooner. It may be due to uncertainty, where you are not sure whether it would work out for you, or you had a sense of sort of coming out of the frying pan into the fire, a risk that you would rather not take, particularly in the current climate. The unknown is a scary prospect, and the fear of feeling like an imposter due to the lack of knowledge or confidence, may have caused you not to move away from where you're comfortable for fear of failure, even possibly fear of success. Both very natural and very normal responses. We also hold ourselves back, making assumptions which have no solid basis and just cloud our judgment unnecessarily. Have you said to yourself, they won't hire me, there are plenty of qualified PAs out there? We tie ourselves up in knots, worrying about what recruiters and hiring managers might think about you, your CV, casting doubt on your capabilities and stopping you from making progress. We've even worried about competing with EAs or PAs already in this sector. All assumptions which are beyond your control. Concentrating on the facts will help dispel those myths. Challenges will present themselves, and in particular with hiring managers and recruiters being blinkered and not seeing beyond your career history or your current role. You may have already experienced it, being pigeonholed. You know what it feels like when you apply for a role in a different sector or industry and the recruiter immediately suggests a same role in the same area you are trying to escape from. It happens all the time, and all we can do is stand our ground. These frustrations and challenges will help you develop resilience, to persevere, and be ready to pull it out the bag when the time comes. After all, you have probably been thinking about switching sector or industry for some time. Think about it for a moment. What are you dreaming about? Probably moving away from where you are to where you want to be. Switching from working in maybe the healthcare business and breaking into legal. Or moving from the property sector into banking. Because essentially, all you want is to work somewhere either more ethical, more dynamic or innovative, or even somewhere more traditional and more structured. Or of course, you may just want to move for a pay rise, as you want to buy a property or simply just make plans for your future. The possibilities for you are endless, and once you move beyond worrying about what transitioning to a new sector industry might be like, take decisive action and learn how to make it happen, which thankfully has brought you here today. So there's no time like the present to get started working on how to differentiate yourself to maximise your chances of being selected. Actually, before we move on, I thought it useful to show you this comparison matrix pulled together to dispel the myths around what other EAs and PAs actually do. Ask yourself this question. What is the difference between a property PA, a banking PA, a PA in healthcare, or a legal PA? Other than industry-specific duties and terminology, which all can be learned, there's not much difference at all. These role requirements were taken from genuine advertised vacancies, and I'm sure you recognise and do all or most of them. Diary and time management, board, committee scheduling, video conferences, conference calls, internal, external, face-to-face meetings, local, national or international travel, document production, which includes emails, reports, presentations, spreadsheets. And what applies across the board are good IT and good communication skills. I thought this would be useful for you to see, as it illustrates the fact that we are all essentially doing the same thing. What you need now is to get noticed, and one of the ways is to package your USP, your unique selling points or proposition, whichever works for you, packaged into a brand new toolkit. In developing your personal toolkit, it basically means packaging brand you with your skills, experience, values, and knowledge. But also, your toolkit should contain specifically what you are looking for and your why. A standout CV to highlight what you bring to the table and the results of all that background research. Your toolkit is not a fixed item, it's changing all the time and needs to be fed regularly, including details of any training, additional learning, qualifications, and your CPD. A useful tip is to create a folder on your phone or another accessible place like Google Drive or Dropbox to keep all your research saved, articles, PDFs, and CVs, etc., all in one place so it's easily accessible. Your toolkit needs to be personal, portable, adaptable, and empowering to give you the confidence and the drive to keep going. I mentioned earlier that you should know your why, and your toolkit should contain information about the roles you're looking for and why you want to be an EA or PA in that specific sector or industry. So, what does know your why mean? I read a number of articles, particularly including Simon Sinek, but found the following provides a clearer explanation to support what I'm trying to get across here today. Your why is the purpose or belief that inspires you to do what you do. Knowing your why means you are more focused and can convince others to buy into you and what you hope to achieve. If you don't know your why, your purpose or belief, then it will be harder for you to stay focused when you come across problems or challenges. Your why feeds into your personal brand, which is who you are as a person, what you know, how you present yourself, and how you deliver. I will say that again. Your why is the purpose or belief that inspires you to do what you do. In the next section, I will outline my 3-point action plan and how to feed your funnel to enhance your toolkit and kickstart your journey from where you are working now to where you want to be working in the future. Firstly, I am pleased to present a summary of the results of interviews held with 4 very dear and respected peers, with permission of course, who have switched sector and industry just for you. Starting with Aisha, who successfully switched between luxury retail, legal services, and now working in an organisation more aligned to her values. Commenting on the barriers she overcame, she said it was not an easy ride, mainly the narrow-mindedness from recruiters and the frustration from not being given the opportunity to prove herself. With Charlotte, who has switched between the health service, finance, charity and legal sectors, she had been a contractor, which many of us have enjoyed doing or have had to do since the market downturn, but recruiters would question her longevity in roles, and rather than seeing the positive achievement of seamlessly switching across sector. Janice's story will also resonate, as she also felt pigeonholed by recruiters who tried to push her into vacancies within her current industry rather than a role in her preferred industry or the role she actually applied for. We've all been there, right? Janice has successfully switched between leisure, actually a golf club, executive search, and now in fintech. Finally, Josh. He has transitioned between the public sector, accountancy, and non-profit organisation. Josh also sadly experienced ageism due to his young age, where people prejudged and discounted his experiences. He had valuable exposure which was sadly undervalued. So Josh's advice to you is to fully research a company, the people, the hiring processes, and to try and get a feel for the culture. Also, not to rush your job search and not to take the first role that comes along. It has to be right for you. Aisha knew her why and pursued a role doing the work that aligned with her goals and her values, which mattered to her. She advises to seek out learning opportunities, read books and articles, and like Charlotte, where she can see the the PA profession is evolving and roles are more interchangeable now. Janice, she stresses the importance of being informed and standing your ground. She also advises to research everything about the sector or the industry you hope to move into. Watch videos. Don't underestimate the power of networking, and once in the job, optimize that onboarding program. So, the recurring theme for all these assistants is, despite the obstacles and the barriers in your way, know what you want and know why you want it. Stand your ground and keep going. Do your homework and do thorough research using the multiple tools which are available to us now. Transitioning to another sector or industry is not easy. In fact, it is hard. But one thing is certain, and now after hearing Aisha, Josh, Janice and Charlotte's story, switching sector or industry is possible. You probably already have a strong idea of what specific sector or industry you want to move into. I mentioned earlier, some of you may have been dreaming about it for years, but you didn't switch, or maybe you didn't know where to start. So get ready to take lots of notes and let's begin. Step 1, brainstorm and focus. First exercise is to take a large piece of paper or a pad, write down all those random areas, sectors, industries and roles that you can think of, even if some of them seem far-fetched. Don't worry. The point of the exercise is to get the information down on paper. Write freely without thinking about it too deeply. Mind dump. You'll be surprised on the number that you will come up with. 10, 20, 30, it doesn't matter. Then once you've filled the page, take some time to read over each sector and industry and just focus on those areas you are genuinely drawn to. Maybe it offers the freedom, engagement, or pride that you're looking for. Concentrate on those areas and then select only 3 or 4. And these will be the strongest, the top 3 or 4, because you will be focusing all your energy and building a project plan around the selection you've made. You must be super clear and specific. And at this stage, you need to focus all your energy. Another tip, you're all used to coordinating projects of varying complexity, so use your planning skills to project manage your next career move. Run comparisons against job vacancies. Analyse your options against where you are in your current role to the role you want to move into. Remember the folder you created in Drive or Dropbox or some other cloud-based storage. Save all the results of your brainstorming sessions in there. You may well revisit it one day. Step 2 is create standout CVs. Career advisors will say to tailor your CV for every role you apply for, and that is correct. I also advise that you create a CV for each of your 3 or 4 top sectors or industries. For example, if you decided that you're interested in pursuing an EA career in property or healthcare, then you will need to create a property CV and a healthcare CV. Your current generic or sector-specific CV listing all your current historical duties and responsibilities will not be enough. It just won't cut it. Ultimately, you want to create standout CVs, not CVs that will be stood on. An exercise to help you to find out what companies and organisations want are to source job boards and company careers pages for all EA and PA roles. Just to have a look. Look at as many vacancies, role descriptions, person specifications as possible to gauge a sense of the type of person they are looking for. Read between the lines. Note the language used, buzzwords, terminology. Note their mission statement and most certainly the core values. Create a document to list all the results of your search and keep it updated. From experience, you will start to notice a pattern of changes over time in the role requirements and certainly the salaries offered. Again, remember to save this document and the results of your inquiries in your toolkit. Ultimately, Your aim is to match the company or the organization's requirements as much as possible, not necessarily 100% of them. And do not let that put you off applying either. You want to promote your transferable skills and experiences from your current role and your previous roles to the hiring manager to show where you will add value. That's where you and your standout CVs will come into their own, particularly when you incorporate topical and recent snippets of information found from your background research. And finally, step 3, networking and research. As a new entrant to the sector or industry that you've chosen, you will be an outsider with some knowledge, but you will need to deliver more than the basics to be selected. Your standout CVs and cover letters will need to evidence your understanding of the sector and industry by the inclusion of some up to the moment and relevant news items, events, deal successes that resonate with you. That is sure to impress either at the selection stage, but certainly at the interview stage. The best sources to find this sort of information are initially the company's own website, posts on Twitter, LinkedIn, or Facebook. In my opinion, the best research tool by far is LinkedIn, where you can look up people, company details, events and news, see their posts, pictures, activity, which will help you get a feel for the culture, look at recent developments and announcements of their future plans. All information which will help you competitively tailor your CV and prepare you for interview as if you are already part of the company. Janice said never underestimate the power of networking, and you shouldn't. Go along to sector, industry events. If you don't know, look them up on Eventbrite or Meetup and LinkedIn, of course. Join a PA network in the sector or industry of interest, mainly for support. And secondly, you may hear of any job opportunities before they are even advertised. That's worth it, yeah? Track company or organisation social media. Join LinkedIn or Facebook groups and track specific hashtags around your fields of interest. And sign up to newsletters, blogs, job alerts, just to keep your finger on the pulse of what is happening in your preferred sector or industry. And remember, feed your toolkit. Save the results of your searches in your folder and update your career planner with all the pertinent information so you can access it at short notice, particularly when those unexpected opportunities arise, and they will. Now, it has to be said, if as a result of following my advice and completing these exercises and you decide you don't actually want to move from where you are at the moment, and that's fine. You may discover information about your own sector or industry which shows the way to broaden the scope of your existing role. It may show a way to add variety, a way to take on new projects or learn new systems, possibly an opportunity to work with other business functions. It's an option, and it's food for thought. So, we are near the end of my presentation, which I hope you found useful and provided enough of a steer to kickstart your journey. In summary, know what you want and why you want it. Project manage your career. Take control. Be confident, persevere, and never stop learning. Create, build, and nurture your toolkit so you can pull it out of the bag when needed. And remember, your toolkit should be personal, adaptable, and empowering, and give you the confidence and drive to pursue your dream. Thank you. My details are here if you would like to reach out and connect through LinkedIn or Twitter. I thank you again so much for listening, and whatever you decide to do, to stay put or transition to somewhere new, I do wish you all the very best. Goodbye.